check and check back carefully. One day there was a man with his son about to go home after hunting in the forest, but it was getting late, so the man rested and spent the night under a tree near a calm river.
When midnight came, the son felt restless and scared. The son said to his father, "Daddy, can I hug you? I feel scared and I don't feel good right now."
Then the father grabbed his son's head, hugged his son so that his son felt safe and comfortable in his lap. It was getting late at night and finally they fell asleep on the bank of the river.
But unbeknownst to them, there was a tiger living near the river. The tiger was walking out of its den to look for food.
When he arrived at the bank of the river under the tree, the tiger saw a man who had 4 legs and 4 arms and only had 1 head.
Seeing that, the tiger was surprised by this incident, which he had only witnessed in his life. Then the tiger met his friend the crocodile who was in the river and said, "Hi, crocodile, there is a man sleeping under a tree at the end of this river and has only 4 legs, 4 arms and only 1 head."
Hearing the story from the tiger, the crocodile laughed heartily and said, "Where is there such a human in this world? If you go to examine it one more time and sniff around the human body, you will surely soon discover that it has 2 heads instead of 1.
Then the crocodile said again, "You are now hungry. As long as you are on land and eat whatever you prey on land, it will all be yours in your share. But whatever falls into the river in my territory, even though you are, you will be my food."
Hearing the crocodile's words, the tiger agreed with the crocodile's proposal. Then the tiger returned to the tree beside the river to examine and sniff the man's body. When the tiger sniffed with his nose, without the tiger knowing it, his whiskers tickled the man's nostrils.
The man sneezed so hard that it made the tiger startle and jump backwards. And without the tiger realizing, behind him was a river and he fell into the river.
The tiger screamed for the crocodile's help so he wouldn't drown. Hearing the tiger scream, the crocodile immediately approached him and said, "Have you forgotten our agreement earlier? Whatever falls into the river, even though you will be my food."
Hearing the crocodile's words, the tiger just realized that he would be the crocodile's food. But the tiger could do nothing to save himself and resigned himself to be the crocodile's food.
The crocodile finally devoured the tiger's body that fell into the river and ate it until it was full.
From the above, fairy tales can be taken as a precious lesson. We should always study, see and survey everything so that the decisions we take are correct. Do not be easy to draw conclusions that will ultimately harm ourselves. Help without seeing a difference. In the middle of a very dense forest and far from the village residents, there is an exquisite waterfall. Under the waterfall, there is a river that is clean water.
The splash of the waterfall makes the air around it cool and fresh. Every morning, midday and late afternoon, lots of animals gather and have activities to play, find food, rest and so on along the river.
During the day when the sun is directly overhead, Many animals want to quench their thirst and also rest. Besides the animals, the river is also often used as a resting place for poachers, and all the poachers set traps to ensnare game animals such as birds, coyotes, tigers. The animals that have been caught are kept as pets, except the tigers are not kept as pets, but the tiger skins are sold at a very high price.
Near a big and lush tree there is a monkey climbing and jumping here and there while singing and singing. He looks thrilled and happy. From a height, the monkey saw a white wolf emerge from the shadows of the forest towards the river to drink. The wolf was big and hairy. The wolf walked towards the river. He walked carefully because he was afraid of being trapped by poachers' traps.
But before reaching the bank of the river, the wolf accidentally stepped on a piece of wood. Suddenly heard a rope being pulled. It turned out that the wolf stepped on a piece of wood that triggered a trap. The trap is made of rope that is neatly woven and strong.
The wolf was trapped. He tried to escape from the trap, but unfortunately the trap rope was very strong, because the trap was made to trap a tiger. The wolf kept trying to escape from the trap until finally he felt tired and couldn't do anything. Now the wolf only made a sound to ask for help. From a height, the monkey saw all that had happened to the wolf.
Then the monkey on the other side of the river came down from the tree. Out of pity, the monkey tried to help the trapped wolf by crossing the river and looking for a shallow place, and there were many rocks.
When the monkey came near the wolf, the monkey saw the trap was tied to an enormous tree trunk. As soon as he climbed the tree quickly after reaching the trunk of the tree, he tried to pull the rope that ensnared the wolf, but his efforts were in vain. He could not untie the knot from the tree trunk.
The wolf only asked the monkey for help because his efforts could not get himself out of the trap. But the monkey was confused about how to untie the trap. Not long after, he heard some squirrels from behind the tree, and without further ado the monkey approached the squirrels and he asked the squirrels for help to help and release the wolf from the traps of poachers. The squirrels agreed and wanted to help him.
But the squirrels were confused what they should do to help him. The monkey only asked them to bite the ropes tied to tree trunks because squirrels have strong teeth and even coconuts with thick skin and can punch holes in hard coconut shells.
Not long after, the monkeys and the squirrels came to the trap, and the squirrel immediately bit the rope that tied the wolf, even though it took a very long time. But the rope broke one by one, and finally the wolf was released from the trap.
The wolf thanked the monkeys and the squirrels for helping him escape the trap. They also become good friends and help each other when someone is in need.
From the fairy tale above, the moral message got is, in this world we cannot live alone. Think about our own interests or groups.
We should live to help each other and cooperate with each other regardless of differences.
A lesson for those who break a promise. On one occasion, at the edge of the forest near the village, there was a poor tiger who was trapped in a trap set by the poacher.
A few moments later, a man, a resident near the forest who was looking for firewood, passed by a tiger trap. Seeing a human passing near the trap, the tiger immediately asked for help and begged him to be freed from the trap that ensnared him.
Seeing and hearing the tiger's request, the man felt pity to see the condition of the tiger trapped in the traps of poachers. The man then said to the tiger, "If I free you and let you out of the trap, will you promise not to attack me?" "Of course," said the tiger with a pleading face to be helped and saved by the man. Then the good man released the tiger from the trap that had trapped him.
The nature of the tiger is very cunning. Some time after the tiger was freed from the trap that ensnared him, he jumped and pounced on the man who helped and freed him. How surprised the man was because the tiger had broken his promise. Then the man begged the tiger to wait a while until someone passed by to ask how about this. Hearing the man's request, the tiger agreed to do it while walking.
Then, the man and the tiger walked hand in hand. When they arrived at the side of the road, the man met a large stone and said, "Hey, stone, was the tiger doing it justice? Repay good with evil like this tiger did." The stone replied, "I have done good to mankind as a way, but they have rewarded them with evil. Destroy and let the road slide," and they just walk away.
A few moments later, they came to a large, thick tree, where the man asked the same question as a rock. The tree replied, "I have done good to mankind by giving me the fruits I have and a place to shelter, but they have rewarded me with evil, by cutting branches and even cutting me down without replanting them, causing flooding and soil and rock slides everywhere." Quote,
In the end, they met the deer who was brilliant, and the person asked for his opinion by asking the same question as before. After hearing what the real problem was, Mouse Deer replied, "I have to really understand this question carefully before I answer it. Let's go back together to where it started and start over from the beginning." Quote,
when he reached the trap, the mouse deer said and asked the tiger to demonstrate, "Come in. I want to see how it all started." And the tiger thoughtlessly fell into the trap set by the poachers. Then the clever mouse deer lowered the trapdoor, and shouted, "Hi, tiger, what you did to the man who helped and saved you by repaying good with evil, is not commendable and violates the norms and manners of life in this world, because of your actions now. No one else will believe and want to let go of a disobedient animal like you."
Finally, the clever mouse deer invited the man to leave the tiger roaring in the trap alone. The moral message from the fairy tale above teaches us to always hold fast to the agreements and commitments that have been made together. Do not even violate what we have agreed together so that neither party feels disadvantaged. We should do and be kind, especially to people who have helped us in trouble. View and analyze properly. There is a forest that is very dense and very dense. Therefore the forest remains dark even though it is noon and the sun is shining brightly, but the sunlight can only penetrate the forest with dim light to the bottom of the forest.
In the forest is inhabited by many kinds of animals such as rabbits, birds, squirrels, butterflies, cats, wolves, hedgehogs, deer, monkeys and other animals. The forest was full of plant-eating animals, so some wolves often hunted in the forest.
One day a wolf was hungry, and he looked for food in the forest which he usually preyed on, such as rabbits, goats, deer and whatever it was something that could be eaten.
The wolf immediately walked towards a river where there were many animals gathered to drink and rest. So that the animals would not be surprised at his arrival, the wolf walked slowly to approach the riverbank while settling down.
Behind the bushes near the river, the wolf heard the sound and scraping of the twigs behind the bush, and he approached the bush slowly and carefully.
It turned out that what the wolf saw were several rabbits eating carrots while chatting and joking. The wolf immediately pounced and chased the rabbits quickly.
But with reflex movements, the rabbits immediately ran nimbly towards the hole where they lived, even faster than the wolves. Before the wolf had time to pounce on the rabbits, they had entered the hole. Give up hope for wolves to get rabbit meat that is very delicious.
With annoyance, the wolf immediately went to the edge of the river to drink. After that, he went back into the dense forest while walking and started looking for other prey.
On the way, he passed a bush and heard a sound like the voice of a rabbit before, and without thinking the wolf ran quick and immediately pounced on the animal. But the animal was not what the wolf expected, it was a hedgehog. Finally, his mouth, hands and tongue were pierced by the sharp thorns of the hedgehog.
Seeing what happened to the wolf, the hedgehog just ran away from the wolf, and the wolf only felt excruciating pain, and he tried to keep trying to get the thorns out of his body, but the thorns were stuck strongly and were difficult to remove.
Finally, the wolf gave up and returned to his pack with thorns in several parts of his body. After the wolf returned to his pack, one wolf from his pack asked, "Why are your mouth, tongue and hands pierced by those thorns? Why do you dare to eat a hedgehog?"
I didn't know it was a hedgehog. I knew I heard an animal behind a bush, and without thinking I ran and pounced on it. Besides, the hedgehog was hiding behind bushes and trees, so I couldn't see it clearly. Answered the wolf, full of thorns while enduring pain.
Hearing that story, his friends laughed at him. Sometimes acting in a hurry will cause bad things for us. So now are you still going to do the same thing? If you want to do that again, maybe later you won't get a hedgehog thorn, but something more painful than that. The senior wolf chattered with a laugh.
Then, regretfully, the wolf said, "Next time I won't be in a hurry to decide," while holding back some pain in his body.
From the fairy tale above, it can be learned that if you are going to do something, don't be in a hurry without seeing and checking it, making sure correctly that what we want is correct and under what we expect.
Only wise and intelligent people do something that is carefully thought out and analyzed first so that the goal can be achieved. Competition between cat and dog. In childhood in the world, dogs and cats were best friends when Adam named and ruled all animals. They were inseparable comrades in leisure activities, loyal partners in commerce, and loyal comrades in all adventures, joys, and sorrows. They only lived together, shared each other's food, and shared their secrets with themselves. There would be no difference between them that could cause problems. Then winter has come. It was a novel experience for her to feel the icy wind tear through her skin and tremble. The dark landscape of bare trees and hard cold ground weighed heavily on their hearts, and worse, there was less food. The shortage became serious and hunger plunged them into misery and despair. Dogs became depressed. The cats became moody, frustrated, and eventually developed a terrible temper. "I can't continue like this," the cat moaned. "I think we should break the partnership. When we're together, we can't find enough to share, but everyone needs to find enough food on our hunt. There is." Quote, "I'm strong, so I think I can help you," said the dog. Cats didn't insist, but she thought the dog was a little stupid and too friendly. She knew she was smart and would rely on this trait for her future livelihood. Dogs were badly hurt by her desire to end Cat's happy deal, but he quietly said, "Of course, if you insist on dissolution, I would agree." Then it was agreed, said cats. "Where are you going?" Dogs asked. The cat, who seems to have decided at Adam's house, replied, "There are mice. Mr. Adam will be grateful when I put them away." "Very good," Dog agreed. "I will continue to wander far away." The cat solemnly said, "We must make a vow that we will never cross the path of the other person. That is the right way to end a business transaction. Snakes says, and it's the smartest of all animals." Quote, "They seriously repeated their vows to put their right forefoot together and not disturb each other by going to the same place. Then they broke up. The dog bowed his head and walked sadly. He looked back once, but did not fuss. She hurried to Mr. Adam's house as soon as possible. "Mr. Adam," she called, "I have become your slave." "You are welcome," said Mr. Adam, stroking the warm fur of the cats. The kitten rubbed his head against his paw, spurred satisfactorily, and ran away looking for a mouse. She found a lot and soon became fat and comfortable. Mr. Adam treated her kindly, and she soon forgot everything about her previous comrades. The poor dog wasn't doing very well. In fact, he was having a hard time. He wandered around the frozen ground, but couldn't find any food. 3 days later, tired and discouraged, he entered the wolf's cave and begged for shelter. The wolf had mercy on him, gave him a piece of food, and put him to sleep in the cave. The dog was so grateful that he slept vigilantly in his ears and heard a secret footstep at night. He talked to the wolf. "Keep away the intruder," his host said moodily. Dogs went out obediently. But the predators were wild animals, and they almost killed him. He was fortunate enough to escape his life. He wandered all day after being wounded in the pool early in the morning, but he found nothing again. Towards the night, he saw a monkey in a tree when he could barely carry his hungry and injured body. A kind monkey, he pleaded, give me a shelter for the night. I'm exhausted and hungry. Away, 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 the monkey chatted, jumped from branch to branch, shook, moved his lips quickly, and strangely opened and closed his eyes. The dog hesitated, pulled the coconut from the tree to scare him from the monkey, and peeled him off. A poor dog sneaked up miserably. What should I do? He moaned. When he heard the bark of the sheep, he went to them and asked him to be merciful. We do that, they replied, if you watch over us and tell us when the wolf will come. Dogs immediately agreed, and after eating something, he fell asleep with one eye open, like a loyal watchdog. At midnight, when he heard a wolf approaching and longing to serve the sheep who treated him kindly, he jumped up and barked loudly. This awakened the sheep, who awoke and ran in all directions. Some of them ran straight into the wolf herd and were killed and eaten. The poor dog was almost grieved. It's my fault, it's my fault, he lamented. I barked too quickly. Oh, what an unfortunate creature. I'm away from all animals now. He departed again. Every time he encountered an animal, he ran away in the opposite direction. He had difficulty finding food, and eventually he was weak and had little ability to crawl. And he had some narrow escape routes to become a prey to wildlife. One night he came home and asked to eat a bite. It was given to him, and at night he awakened the man and warned him that wild animals were attacking. The man jumped up, took the bow and arrow, and drove away from the thief. Then he tapped the dogs. It's a friendly dog, he said. You are a wise animal. Be with me. You will find the kindness of Mr. Adam. Mr. Adam, the dog shouted in amazement. You may not be here. Nonsense. I say you have to do, Mr. Adam replied, and dogs had to obey. That morning, Cats complained to Adam when he learned the dog had joined the house. The dog broke her vow that I wouldn't come where I am, she said. He didn't know you were here, said Mr. Adam, who wanted to keep peace. It's very convenient. I want him to stay. He won't hurt you. There is plenty of room for both. Quote, no, there isn't. He broke his vow. He is an evil being. You must not miss his attack. The poor dog puts his tail between his legs and is discouraged. And stood there. I didn't know it was Adam's house, and I was starving, unhappy and tired, he said. But the cats weren't relieved. She stuck out her ugly claws and tried to scratch her ex-partner. Her dog avoided her as much as possible, but she argued with him on every occasion and finally decided that he would no longer tolerate her actions. Mr. Adam, I must leave you, he said. Cats make my life intolerable. But I want you, Mr. Adams said. I'm sorry, Dogs firmly said. But it's really impossible for me to continue your ministry. I'm in a unique situation than Seth. He wants me too. Why don't you make friends with cats? Adam asked. Happy, if she forgives me, she won't. You blame each other, Mr. Adams said with patience. I can't recognize you. You seem to argue forever. Mr. Adams' words have proven to be true. Since then, cats and dogs have disagreed and cats never agreed to be friends with dogs again.